this particular session. So let me share my screen. So in our previous sessions, we have started with the discussion of something known as associative array, and we have differentiated this associative array with our uh, dynamic arrays and normal arrays queues. We have differentiated, and we have seen why are we going to learn this associative arrays. Yes, and this and all things we have started in our previous session, and we have started with some piece of code also. Okay, so before that, let me show you. So again, let us once briefly see how to insert your elements inside your associative array and how to print your elements of your associative array, right? Now, let's say if I'm going to have an associative array declared like this int array arr of data type star. Okay, so if I'm going to give index as star, then this means you can use any data type. Okay, so here you can use any data type. You can use real data type, you can use int data type, you can use integer data type, you can use any data type. Okay, and you can use string data type as your index. For example, you can simply write down ARR 0 is equal to 1 or ARR of 1.5 is equal to 2. ARR of first is equal to 4 and ARR of some, let's say, what we can use, yeah, and let's say 1 is equal to 5. Then what is happening over here? A memory location with index 0 has been created. A memory location with index 1.5 has been created. Memory location with index first has been created. And location index 1 has been created. Okay. So this also we have seen yesterday, right? Is it clear for everyone? Yes or no? Uh, yeah. I will share the early PDFs and all. Okay. Yeah, by default, that and all we will discuss today. Okay. Yeah. So, what do you mean by default int? I want this. I want this to clarify. So, let's say suppose if we are going to have ARR, we have a int ARR of star. Okay. If you haven't allocated any element, if you haven't inserted any element into this particular array, so there is no memory created. There is no index at all. Okay. Now, if let's say if you have allocated the first index as a string, let's say first is equal to 1. Then what is the first index? First index is this first. Okay. Is it clear? Let's say suppose before that you have allocated ARR of 0 is equal to 2. Then what is the first index? The first index is 0 and the second index is first. Is it clear, GPT? ARR, the display value of ARR of first is equal to percentage D. Yes. We will come to this particular point also. Why you are getting error, I will tell you. Okay. It is not going to work in that particular way. For displaying your strings, this is not the way we are going to use. Okay. I will explain you. So before that, tell me the default uh, index value. Is it clear? And yesterday, someone was asking, right? The default value will be int. I hope it is clear, right? Now, let us see some snippets. Okay. So let me share my EDA playground screen. 1 minute. And don't worry, I will share all the yesterday's or the previous PPTs, everything. I will create a drive and share it. And yeah, yes. So let me create a simple module. And before that, yeah, let me create a simple module, which is example. Okay. So before that, let me check whether I have started the recording. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So here I'm going to declare a particular associative array. Okay, let me declare a associative array as data. This is my associative array, and here I'm going to have an index of string. Okay, now there is no memory created initially, so I'm going to create a memory. How to create a memory? Data of, let's say, first is equal to 1, data of second is equal to 2, data of third is equal to 3. I'm having indexes with my strings. Okay. Now, if I want to display this particular associative array, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use for each loop. Okay. So how to use this for each loop? For each of, I'm going to simply write down data of key. Okay. So it's, you need to just give any particular random variable. No need to declare this particular variable also. Just give a variable. That's it. Okay. So here I'm going to give a variable which is known as key. Okay. Begin. What I'm going to do is dollar display. I'm going to display the array that is nothing but data of. Now, what is the index data type? Can anyone tell me? Here, what is the index data type? What is the format specifier should I use? What is the index data type and what is the format specifier I should use over here? Can anyone tell me by saying this particular code? String. So what is the format specifier I should use? I should use percentage s, right? I should use percentage s over here. Okay, exactly. And what is the element data type here? It is int. Okay, that's why I'm going to use percentage d over here. Okay, percentage d. Okay, and I want to print the index. Okay, the index is nothing but key and the value is nothing but data of key. Let me close the double quotes over here. Data of key. Okay, and let me display it in end module. So let's see what I'm going to get over here. Begin end. Okay. So I'm going to get data of first is equal to 1, data of second is equal to 2, data of third is equal to 3. Is it clear, guys? Please see this code and let me know. Is it clear? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a for each loop and I'm going to take any variable, just a variable name. Okay, no need to declare it also. Okay, and here my index is a string. Okay, so that's why I'm going to use a format specified as percentage s, and here my element is an integer. So I'm going to use percentage d, key comma data of key. Okay, and what about others? Is it clear? Yes or no? Now you are able to understood like how you're going to print an associative array with a string index. Is it clear? So we have seen, right? So in the case of your for each loop, you no need to declare any variable, right? No, no, no. You should definitely give any particular variable over here. Okay, let's say I'm going to give I. Okay, let me write it down. I. Let me print it. See, now also you're going to get the same thing. You just need to give any particular variable so that that particular string will be copied into this particular local variable I. Okay, for each loop will work in such a way that whenever you're going to give any variable, that particular variable internally, the string value will be copied to this particular I. Okay, so there will be some mechanism in that, like using typecasting and using a conversion. They are going to do something. Okay, so you just need to give some particular variable. Okay. Bhavana, I think your doubt has been cleared, and GPT, your doubt also has been cleared, right? And also Gayatri's doubt. Okay. Yes. Now, or else, if you want to print if you want to print this particular associative array, you can use directly percentage p operator in the packed format. You can print the array value is percentage p comma data is my array. Okay, let us print it in the percentage in the formats, this particular format. Yes, so you're going to get the value of first one, second two, and third three. Okay, now my next question is, can we use for loop for printing this associative array which is going to have string index? Is my next question. Can anyone tell me yes or no? Can we print a associative array which is going to have string index using for loop? Yes or no? We have used for each loop. We have used percentage p operator, and in our previous discussions also, we have used for each loop, percentage p, and for loop. The three formats we have seen. Okay. So what do you mean by your for loop? So for loop, you can use it for iterating over integer values only. In SystemVerilog, you can iterate it over integer values only. If you are going to use for loop, you can iterate the values over integer things only. Okay. But in other languages like Python or yeah, if you take in Python, you can use for loop for iterating over string values or character values. I think someone, if you have learned Python, can anyone tell me? How to store random data in random address locations, how to write the code for this in associative array. Yeah, I will tell you. Anyone knows Python who have worked using for loop iterating over multiple characters? Okay, so in system verilog you can use for loop for iterating over integer values. Okay, so you cannot use here the for loop for displaying your string values. Okay, is it clear for everyone? Okay, that's great. Yes, Nandini. So coming to your question, let us answer this question within a few minutes. Okay, we are going to see some built-in functions like what is exactly happening over here. Okay. Now, for storing the values inside my associative array, I can directly use the indexes. Okay. So I'm going to have data of first, data of second, data of third. Okay. Now, if I'm going to take a implicit operator star as my index. Okay. Now I have told you that I can use any data type. Let's say suppose if I'm going to use 0.5, this was also asked previously, right? And if we are going to run this, so we are going to get let's see what we are going to get. Data of 0.5 is equal to 1. Let's see. We are going to get error. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the this particular tool. Let's say let us take it in very later and let us run it again. Okay, it is showing some different errors. Let me run it again. Not very later. I've used what tool? Previously, when I was searching for this, I've chosen another tool. So it supported this particular index also. Yeah, I will let you know what tool I have used. Mm, okay, it's not accepting now. Let's take it as real. So previously I was doing this and let me come into this and run it. Let us check it. Okay, actually it's not accepting it. I will check the code again. So previously, yesterday we had a discussion, right? Like when we were using index as a fractional number, then we were getting the error. But previously, when I was searching it, I have used another simulator. It was running. Okay, I will go through it and I will let you know. Okay, yes. So are they clear? Is there any doubt or any other queries? Module example array, first one. Synopsys VCS, we need a subscription for that. It's a paid simulator. Okay. Yeah. What is this GPT? Associative. Okay. What is your doubt over here? Okay. Let me change it. Synopsis. Okay. I need to validate my account. Okay. I will let you know the exact tool which I have used it for that. Okay. Yeah. What error you are going to get over here? Okay. We'll go through that particular code. Okay. Yeah. So let's move forward with some built-in functions in our system associative arrays. Okay. Okay, so before that, the for each loop and the percentage p operator and the indexing for storing your arrays and for displaying your associative arrays, are they clear? Any doubts or any queries in this? The fractional index, once I will show you the exact simulator which I have chosen for running it. Definitely it will accept it. Okay, the fractional index, it will definitely accept it. Okay, yeah. Now, so let us see some built-in functions which are present in our associative arrays. Okay. So the very first built-in function which we are going to see is num. Okay. So basically this num, it is going to return the number of elements which are present in this particular associative array. Okay. And basically this num is a function. Okay. And we also have another built-in function which is known as exist. Okay. Now, in the case of our associative array, we can have any type of index, right? We can have the index as first, or we can have any index name. For example, in our normal arrays, we can have the indexes in only in integer format. So it may be from 0 to 100 or whatever the number of indexes we have created. So for example, if you are using a dynamic array and if I have written divine is equal to new of 20, then I will have the indexes from 0 to 20, right? But here, if I'm going to use an associative array, I can have indexes of any name or any value, right? So I should know whether that particular index is present or not, whether it is existing or not. So for that, I'm going to use exist. For example, if someone has used, if we have an associative array like this, assoc underscore array of star, and if I'm going to write down assoc underscore array of first is equal to 10, then a index has already been created. A index of first, a memory location with index first has already been created, and an element is located in that particular thing. Let's say suppose after some time, if I'm going to write down assoc underscore array of first is equal to 20. Can anyone tell me what will happen if I'm going to write like this? Do I'm going to get any error? If I'm going to write down assoc underscore array of first is equal to 20, what is that I'm going to get? Do I'm going to get any error? Exactly. It will overwrite the previous value which is present in that particular location. Then your data will be lost, right? Okay. So I need to make sure that whatever the index which was created, that particular index I should not use. Okay. Whatever the index which was previously created, that particular index should not be used. In the case of your normal arrays, like your dynamic arrays, queues, unpacked arrays, packed arrays, your indexing was like your numbers only, and it is a fixed thing. Like if you have 20, or if you can basically have a note of it. But here in the case of your associative arrays, if you are working with some very big project where you are going to have, like we will see in UVM config DB also, we are going to use a some this kind of associative array thing only. Okay, so we need to check whether first of all that particular index has been created or not. Okay, so for that I am going to use this particular method which is known as exist. Okay, now next is I am going to use a method which is known as first. Okay, So this particular method is, it's a function. Okay, this is going to basically return me. It is going to return me the first element which is present in that particular associative array. Okay. Next is last. This particular function, it is going to return me the last element in my associative array. Next is previous. This element is going to return me the previous element in the associative list. And next is next. This is going to return me what is the next element in the particular list. Okay. Yes. Is it clear, guys? Yes or no? Now, uh, how many of you know about this particular functions and tasks? Okay. Only one person. How many of you know about functions and tasks? Okay. One, two, three. I just heard. Okay. If you're perfect about functions and tasks, I'm willing to explain this particular methods. If you're not confident, or if you're not comfortable with this functions and tasks, what I'm planning is, what I generally do is, I will first deal about functions and tasks, and I will come back to this built-in functions and I will discuss, because you need to know about the arguments and the return type, what is function is going to return, what do you mean by return type. So if these concepts are not clear, then the understanding this built-in functions will be little bit difficult. Okay. So now tell me, how many of you are very comfortable with this functions and tasks concept? Okay. So tell me, how many of you are not comfortable with this functions and tasks? Okay. Others also please respond now, so that I can plan accordingly. Okay. 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 So then we will do one thing. So we will go to functions and tasks concept. That is the very next concept which we are going to have in our next session, and we will discuss that, and we will come back to this built-in functions which are present. Okay. If I forgot, also please remember me, so that I can explain you that. Okay. So that if I am telling that if a function is returning this particular value, you need to visualize it like what it is returning. Okay. If a function is going to have an argument, you need to visualize what do you mean by an argument. Okay. Then only you can in sync with me, and we will have something known as ref keyword reference. Okay. So that's why what I'm planning is to have this functions and tasks discussion first, then we will come back to built-in functions. Okay. Yes. Now let us move forward and let us see some particular case. Let's say suppose if I'm going to declare int data of 3 string. Now, can anyone tell me whether it is 1D array, 2D array, 3D array, and whether it is unpacked or packed? Whether it is 1D, 2D, 3D, unpacked or packed? Yes. Waiting for your responses. Unpacked array, 1D, 2D, 3D. Unpacked 3D array. Exactly. It's an unpacked 3D array. Okay. Now, what about the first dimension? What about the first dimension? Whether it is fixed or dynamic? What about the first dimension? Whether it is fixed or dynamic? Fixed. Exactly. Fixed. The first dimension is basically fixed, right? Now, what about the second dimension? Whether it is fixed or dynamic? Dynamic. Exactly. So this is dynamic in nature. Okay. And what is this? What is this? What type of array it is? So basically it's an associative array, exactly. So this is an associative array which we have declared. Now, if we are going to have this kind of array, then how we are going to insert a data? Let us try to understand. Okay. So first of all, we are going to allocate the first dimension. So what I'm going to write down is data of 0 is equal to, let's say, new of 2. Now, if I'm going to refer data of 0, which dimension I'm going to refer to? If I'm going to write down data of 0, then which dimension I'm referring to? Whether I'm referring to first dimension, second dimension, or the third dimension. Okay, I got one response. What about others? Exactly, the first one. Okay, if I'm going to write down data of 0, am I right? No. How you are referring to first one? Okay, here this is, let's say this is first dimension, second dimension, third dimension. Data of 0, I'm referring to the second dimension. Do you all remember when we were discussing about 2D dynamic arrays, where we have declared this kind of dynamic array int data 3 and a dynamic dimension. And if I'm going to write down data, or data is equal to new of 2, is it going to work? Can anyone tell me, if I'm going to write down data is equal to new of 2, is it going to work or not? Do I get any compilation or error over here? Okay, let me show you in the compiler itself. I think no one remembers this. Let me show you. Let me share my screen. I hope my screen is visible, right? Yeah. So let's say if I've declared a model TV int divine 3 and another dynamic dimension, and within an initial beginning block, if I'm going to write down divine is equal to new of 3, or let's say new of 4, end module. Let me run it. Synopsis. Yeah. Let me run it. So what I'm going to get? Illegal use of dynamic array new operator. Okay. Have we seen this error or not? Yes or no? So here our first dimension is fixed, right? So we cannot change it. Okay. So if we are going to write divine is equal to new of 4, we are trying to change the number of rows. Okay. The number of rows are fixed. These are 3 only. You cannot change the number of rows. Am I right or no? Yes or no? And if you are specifically mentioning 3, then this is nothing but number of columns. Okay, let me run it again. Let us check it out. So in the third row, I need to have 4 number of columns I'm referring to. Is it clear? Yes or no? So specifically what I've written in the third row, I need to have 4 number of columns. Is it clear, guys? Yes or no? So this particular thing we need to have a clear idea. Okay, let me explain you one more time if you are not able to understand this. If I'm going to write down int data of 3 and empty dynamic array. Let me write it down over here. Int data of 3 and like this. Then my number of rows are fixed. These are 3 fixed. Okay. 3 number of rows are fixed. If we are going to write down data is equal to new of 4, that means you are trying to increase the number of rows by 4. This will be not acceptable because the number of rows are fixed. But if you are going to write down data of 3 is equal to new of 4, then what is going to happen? Then in this particular row, then in this particular row, 4 number of columns will be created like this. That is what it is happening over here. Is it clear? Yes or no? And if you, sorry, this is 0th row, 1, 2. We should write down data of 2 is equal to new of 4. Then that means here in the third row, 4 columns will be created. Is it clear, guys? Yes or no? Yes, exactly. Now, in the example which we have taken, if we are going to write down data of 0 is equal to new of 2, then what is going to happen? First of all, how it is going to look like? So we have three number of rows fixed. Okay. Now what are we going? Sorry, this is 3D array, right? Let me erase it. Let me write it down again over here. Int data of three dynamic array and a string. If I'm going to have like this, right? Now, so this is going to look like this, three number of planes, because it's a 3D array, right? It is going to have three number of planes fixed. These three are fixed. Okay. Consider these are placed over one over another. Okay. And if I'm going to write down data of 0 is equal to new of 3, then in the first plane, three rows will be created. This is what it is happening if I'm going to write down data of 0 is equal to new of 3. And if I'm going to write down data of 1 is equal to new of 2, then in this particular second plane, two rows will be created. And if I'm going to write down data of 2 is equal to new of 5, then in the last plane, my 5 number of rows will be created. This is what I'm doing basically. Is it clear? Yes or no? Can you able to visualize this? Yes, yes, yes. We will come to no row. I'm talking about row, not column. Okay. Now, let's say here in the first plane, in the first row, I want to insert one, two, three columns. Then how to have it? Okay. So before that, in the first plane, in the first row, I want to have an element in the first column. How to have it? Can anyone uh, tell me the syntax for this? In the first plane, first row, I want a first element as my first column. Now, can anyone get the syntax for this? I'm waiting for your responses. So what I can simply write it down, data of 0, 0, 0 is equal to, sorry, here, if you carefully observe, it's a string. So it's not acceptable. Data of 0, 0, and I should write a string index. First is equal to 1. So that this particular memory will be created with index string and element is equal to 1. Please observe it carefully and let me know. Yeah, I should not use index over there. Okay, I should be careful because the index is declared as string. So I need to give a string index so that that particular element will be stored over here. Okay. Now let's say if I want to store an element over here. Okay. Then how to write it down? Data of 0, 0, and I can use first is equal to 2. Can I write like this? Sorry, it is data of 2, 0, first is equal to 2. Can I write like this? Yes or no? Am I going to override my previous element in this particular case? Am I going to override in this particular case if I'm going to write like this? Data of 2, 0, first is equal to 2. Am I audible? I think I have disconnected. Am I audible? I think I've got disconnected. Yeah. So my question was, can you able to listen my question? What was my question is, if I'm going to write down data of 2, 0, first is equal to 2 and data of 0, 0, first is equal to 1, am I going to override this value with this value? Am I overriding? No. This is different location and this is different location. Okay. if I am going to write down data of 0, 0, first again, and if I'm going to write some another value is equal to 2, then I'm referring to this particular location and your data will be overridden. But here I'm referring this location and here I'm referring this particular location. Is it clear, guys? I hope it is clear, right? Yes. Okay, that's great. Now, can anyone tell me, let's say if I want to create, in this particular plane, in the first row, I want to create 4 number of memory locations at a time. How can I create? Anyone knows the syntax for this? You can give it a try. If I want to create, okay, let's say second row. If I want to create in this first plane, second row, if I want to create 4 number of columns, how to create it? What is the syntax for this? I will write down over here. First plane, second row, I need 4 columns. Yeah, someone is trying to answer. It's simple. What to write down? Data of 0 and 1 is equal to new of 4. Then 4 number of columns will be created over here. Exactly. But do we need to create that particular thing? Do we need to create the memory before utilizing it? Do we need to create the memory before utilizing this particular? Do we need to create the columns before using them? No need, because it's an associative array, right? Okay. Yes. So this is how you're going to deal with this multiple type of dimensions if you're going to have. Okay. Yes. So that's about this particular session. And in our next session, we are going to start with the functions and tasks so that you will get a clear idea about what do you mean by function, what do you mean by task, and what is a return type, and what do you mean by arguments, reference, passing the values, getting the values, calling a function, calling a task. If you understand this, then we can have a great discussion about this built-in functions. Okay, so working of these built-in functions, understanding them, it's a very interesting thing. Okay, yes. So that's about this particular session. If you have any doubts or any other queries you wanted to discuss, you can stay and discuss with me, or else you can leave this session. Okay, thank you. Coming to Nandini's question, so let's say if I'm going to have a particular dynamic array into d, okay, let me write it down. Module ex and into dyn, if I'm going to have, and within an initial beginning block, let's say if I'm going to write down dyn is equal to new of 4, then I have created 4 number of locations, and let's say int assoc underscore array I have declared it. Okay, and now if I've created 4 number of locations, okay, so what is going to happen? Like this, 4 number of locations are created for your dynamic array. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say suppose in the first location you're storing 1 and the last location you're storing 2. Okay. Then only these 2 locations are utilized and these locations are not utilized. These are basically wasted, right? But if you are going to use an associative array and if you are pushing an element or if you are trying to store any element in the first location, only that memory will be created. And let's say if you are trying to store the element in the last location, only this particular element will be created. Only this particular memory will be created. No other memory will be created. Here, no memory wastage will be present. And if you try to check whether this particular index is existing or not, you can have a method which is known as exist. Okay, this we will discuss after completing functions and tasks. Using this particular function, if you try to check whether this particular index 1 is existing or not, it will not exist. It will show it is not existing. I hope your query is clear, Nandini. Random data and random address locations. How do we write the code? Okay. Yeah. Coming to other questions.